Hey, welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to continue episode 3 of volume 7 of my Stevie and Fleetwood Mac scrapbooks. And I am starting out with some of my favorite photos from the Wild Heart era. Not one of my favorite sessions, but just these are some really great photos of Stevie from that time period. They are, of course, stills and photos from the filming of If Anyone Falls video. I'm going to start right off with a proof photo from a press kit. But then this great photo, again from the video, a really unique still photo. Just great. That video is just so romantic and it just so well. I think it's actually funny. I love the song. I don't mind it live. A lot of people don't care for it live. I don't think it's one of the best ones live, but I do like it, and I think it's different. You know, it's definitely one of her hits, but it's not one that people think of as much as, say, Stand Back or Edge of 17. But I think of all of her videos, this one has the most story and the most, after Gypsy. This and Gypsy have just the most Stevie essence in it, I think. The sepia tone, they're in the old-timey theater, and then the kind of, I don't know, the whimsical, the carousel and everything like that. I just really like it. Talk to Me has a vibe. Rooms on Fire. I mean, all of her videos. Obviously, I think that I Can't Wait kind of stands out with kind of that's very 80s, which I love. Totally love the 80s, but I think for a little story in a video, which was really what they were so about when they first launched MTV, was just making this little 2 to 3 minute video. And there's just really something to be gained, I think, out of that If Anyone Falls video. Just my 2 cents. But I had just never seen, there's actually a magazine article that had come out, and they had a couple photos. I think that was Faces, and you'll see some pieces of it in here. And there was a picture of her from the video, and I just lost my mind. Like, it's just so cool to have, this is in real time. So it's really neat to have a picture from the video that I like so much. And then over the years, again, acquiring things like this was just really something else. So that is great. And then coming up next, even greater still, were some really cool pictures. The whole kind of ballet scene. This is an original photo. This is a screen grab, but it's really cute. Somebody had made it for me. That's a screen grab too. But I just love how it looks. It kind of has that sepia, just like it was in the video. And then that's an old photo. That's an original photo, but it's really badly. It's got bad coloring. You know what I mean? It's not very clear. I'd like to have this. I'd like to find a better copy of it, is what I'm trying to say. To continue on with this theme, I think if you watched my Mirage videos, I was talking about some things, a trade I tried to make with somebody, and I had some photos that, again, were not really crystal clear, and they were from Gypsy, and they were kind of a little bit blurry, but they were real photos. This is another one of those instances. And this was not offered for trade at the same time, but this is an original photo that I just thought was so cool to get. It's not really crystal clear, but it's just such a cool ass photo. Her face is kind of blurry, but it's just a really great capture from that film, from the little video. I apologize. And this I got at that Book City. This one and the next one I'm going to show you. And for as gorgeous as that one is, this one is even better because it's so clear. You get the whole. She's not really blurry, but yeah, I love this one. Carrying on, this was a great. Forget who got this for me. I tried it one. Blah. As I mentioned again, and I'll say it several times, and I try and bring it up every time I come across something like this, but when I meet people on eBay, I don't just buy the stuff. I like to try and hear the story. And I'm sorry, I've said this before. And I believe that this was from a lady who, it's made out to Yvette, and I don't believe the seller was Yvette. I think it might have been her mom, aunt, or something like that. the signature is really buggered up. It's something that got sent to this person from Ginny, I think, so one of the Ginny Kimono, it's like I said, the signature is all boogered up, but the person who had it at the time when they first got it, of course, were just beside themselves to have it. I think it's a legitimate Stevie Nicks signature, but it's completely ruined. And that is this one right here. You can see just how terribly smudged it is. And unfortunately, that was just over time. The person had it, and it's a great photo. This was a really cool little tiny photo. Again, this was out of that magazine that I told you, I guess Spaces or something like that. But this is like a little press photo, this little tiny, it's about 3x5. And this photo was used in the magazine in the article. And it was an MTV feature within this magazine. But it was really cool to get it as a proper photo. I don't think there's anything on the back of it, but it's just really neat. And then these are going to be getting into some photos I talked about having the negatives too. This is one of them, just of the guys. You'll see, of course, more of Stevie later. This was the photo that came out of the magazine that went with this article that I keep talking about. So this is what I'd had ages ago. And then again, finding the real thing, the bigger pictures was just so amazing. Great one of Sandy here, just by herself. Again, that whole vibe of the video. That's just really a cool picture. If I do say so myself. So these are some of the negatives. These are some of the things I got. Some were very similar, which ends up happening. These look just so similar, but of course they're very different. It's really nice. But I do love the whole showing of the stage and everything like that. This kind of how the stage was for Stevie on tour. She kind of had that design. But this is all during the shoot of the video. Beautiful photos. Carrying on with those, excuse me. Handful more here. One's cute. This one. Yeah, these are all the photos. Yeah. And in another couple pages, I have some magazine pictures with the photos, but these are all still from the negatives. There was just, like I said, a huge handful, and I just couldn't believe it. This one kind of goes with that other one I was mentioning that I'd like to have clear. Of course, I don't know where I put that now, but you know what I'm talking about, right? This one here. What I would have given to have been there, right? Now, I have heard the story of what's going on here, but I don't recall. If anybody can refresh my memory or has an article or something like that. I think it was just friends and family who were on set. It's so 80s, though. Everybody's in such 80s outfits. It's, white pants. White pants were real big in the 80s. Definitely a little break from filming, it looks like. Hair and makeup was on point that day. I'm trying to see that little necklace here. Just a heart, I just think. My jewelry mavens. And there's some people who are really, I told you, people have their little things. A lot of people are really into the jewelry, which nothing wrong there. She has some great jewelry. Then a handful more here. Plus the paper really suited it. It's so funny. Does this paper remind you of the video for Sorcerer? When I was using it, I thought, oh, this might be good for that. If I can get, I think I have some pictures from that video as well. But I have a similar paper, but just I always, whenever I see this paper, I think of that video. But it goes well with the If Anyone Falls stuff too. As did this. This was a really neat kind of a paper with little jewels on it. Unfortunately, you have to be careful when you put it in the book because these stick out, so you don't want them to stick on the next picture. But really great stuff, right? Just a real neat look. I love little kind of behind the scenes stuff. This will kind of no, we still got a few more to go on that note. So these two pictures were also from that magazine. This is the first one I was talking about. That's the first one I ever found. You can see my old school tape job if you saw one of those videos. That's how I used to laminate stuff. Got carried with me everywhere. But this one is from the magazine. This is a really beautiful drawing that I do believe was in Book of Miracles, which is another video I'd like to make. I've never gotten my hands on a copy, but it is a fan made book. People submitted poetry, stories, letters, art, all sorts of stuff, and compiled it, and it was given to Stevie in the early 80s, maybe. And this is just a really pretty photo that a friend of mine had it, and I really like this artwork. So I had her Xerox that for me. And it just kind of reminded me of the If Anyone Falls, an extra 45 cover. That's why the little tape mark on it. Also from a magazine, but definitely went with it. This picture was used quite a bit, as was this one. This was a funny article. This was Stevie had been mentioned in, what the hell magazine was that? In Style magazine. And somebody had written a letter named Holly Matthews. Thank you so much for your signature style article. It was cool and enjoyable to read. I appreciated your including Stevie Nicks. She truly has made her mark in fashion. She possesses a lot of individuality, one of the most intriguing women around. And you're like, oh, that's such a nice letter. Then another letter got written, and it says, I've been working with Stevie Nicks since 1976 to help interpret her musical vision and create her stage persona. I have designed her stage clothes for her performances with Fleetwood Mac, as well as her solo concert tour this summer. I'm sure your omission of my name was unintentional. That was from Margie Kent, and I don't blame her one bit. They put this whole article talking about Stevie Nicks' clothing wear, and then don't even bother to mention who they were made by. And that to me is just, that should be bronze. That is one of the best letters ever. Written very politely, but just, yeah, what the hell's wrong with you? Any fan, the most novice fan knows Margie Kent, Herbert Worthington, outside of Fleetwood Mac. I mean, just as a little side family. I mean, those are just two names that are synonymous with, Stevie and Fleetwood Mac. It's funny to me. Carrying on with this, we have a little bit kind of going back and forth from the If Anyone Falls video, but some other little stuff. This was a really great, this was an invitation to the Wild Heart Affair, which I've mentioned. It was a Stevie party. The lady who put it on, her name was Kat, and I believe it was her mother painted that for her. And it's such beautiful artwork that she used that as the invitation. And it totally captures Stevie, but it's its own picture. And I love that this is obviously what it's based off of. And so it looks everything like her and nothing like her. And it's just a beautiful piece of artwork. I absolutely love that picture. I love the original too, though. Then this was kind of an old page. Both of them were. This was a page I made some years ago, so it was just kind of a hodgepodge of things I had. Little reviews, stuff cut out from Herbert's mail order stuff. Then I'll bring this picture up. This is used a couple times, and I'll show you here. That is the same, right? Yeah. So this was, obviously cut out from the inside of the Wild Heart album, from the insert on the inside. Then a review of Stevie from, what's the one that always made fun of people? Cream magazine, I think. I want to say, and it was a pretty decent review. Not too bad. Some of them were just awful. Some reviews are just so damn awful, just so mean, just unnecessary. I bring up that one photo that I'm going to show again because this is one of my prized possessions. Here's this photo here that I showed you. But then here is a very rare Polaroid outtake. This is one of my babies. It's unfortunately, it's taken from so far away and it's a Polaroid and it's old, so it's kind of hard to see. It's been hard for me to kind of, take pictures and show it to people, but this is one of my prized possessions, hands down. Yeah, another photo from the video, the dancing part. This is Stevie Nicks' artwork that was included in the Wild Heart Tour book, and I just thought it was really cute to put some fairy stuff, and I think that says, I believe in fairies. And then Stevie Nicks' top brought gypsies and witches out of the dark and onto the charts. And I forget where that went with, what article. There's just some little blurb about Stevie, which I thought was really cute. And then an old advert for her being on tour, which I think I might have told the story. I think the story about the Wild Heart Tour and the large pink advert that I have from, it's called Date Book, which is part of the San Francisco Chronicle every Sunday. And I'm sure I've told the story, but it was my dad got the paper every weekend, and he saw that and he hid it from me. He gave it to my mom to put somewhere and hide because he knew I'd want the piece of paper, but he knew we also couldn't go. There's no way they could afford it. I lived in Stockton at the time, and this was like all the way in Oakland or San Francisco, which was, a couple hours away. They weren't going to go to a concert. And I was way too young to go by myself, but it's one of my finest, best memories. And it's a dumb, but seriously, sincere memory I have of my dad, who's still alive. But I mean, just something I'll always think of because he knew. He's never really understood my infatuation with Stevie. My mom's completely down with it. But my dad he's fine with it, but just always kind of like, oh, she'll outgrow this. But he knew how much I'd want that piece of paper, that little, the little ad, but that there's no way we could go. So he didn't want me to see it until after the concert had happened, which he felt really bad about. But so it's just kind of cute. But this is a smaller version of it. And then this, I think, is from the Belladonna concert. It's just something that was an extra little piece I had. So, but yeah, that one is a really cool one. I hope you enjoyed that one. That's not seen. I don't think I put that up on anywhere on Ivory Keys or anywhere. I've shown it to a few friends, but yeah. So that is going to wrap up this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We have plenty more to go. So join me next time, and everybody have a great night. Bye.